Okay, hello and welcome everyone to another Affiliate Summit webinar. First of all, it's so great to see so many of you joining us here today. I'm joined by two fantastic speakers who will be leading the webinar. So here with me is Thomas and Kyle from ClickBank, and they'll be sharing how top health and beauty offers achieve 7+ figure results. But just before I hand over to them to get started, I wanted to highlight a couple of ways that you can get involved in today's webinar. So firstly, there's going to be loads of polls popping up on your screen throughout the webinar that we want to hear your thoughts on. So please do join in with them when they do come up. And secondly, this is a really great opportunity to have your questions answered by these two awesome speakers. So if you have any, just pop them in the chat function during the webinar and we'll do our best to answer as many as we can at the end. But that's enough from us. So I'm going to hand you over to Thomas and Kyle, who will start the webinar.
Hey everyone, hopefully you could hear us okay. We're just going to share the screen real fast, maybe. All right. Boom. Okay, so can everyone see my screen? If you just want to throw it in the chat, that you can. As we were already introduced, let me just get this all set up. As already introduced, and some of you might already know, my name is Kyle, and I am met with. Why is this not going to presentation mode? Sorry about this. Ah, there we go. All right. So my name is Kyle, and we have the beautiful Thomas McMahon next to me. So for those, I actually saw some people on the call that we do know. I'm going to call you out real fast. And we saw like Rob Polos, Mike Zing, Mike Zidroff, Anna from MaxWeb, Chrissa Benson, and James Klein. I'm sure there's plenty more. So thanks so much for joining us today. Yeah, it's super exciting. And obviously, we're already up to 240 attendees right now, and that number keeps climbing. So we're really excited to have a lot of people here today. And before we get started, though, I'd love, Thomas, why don't you tell the people about yourself for the attendees that don't know you?
Yeah, so if you haven't met me yet at an event or otherwise online, I'm Thomas McMahon. I'm the Senior Business Development Manager here at ClickBank, which in layman's terms means I help new business onboard to ClickBank. And I've had a great run of it. I've onboarded hundreds of millions of dollars on ClickBank from sellers, from affiliates, from channel partnerships, and get a really cool, unique perspective of the direct response marketing space with all that. So it's a lot of fun. I'm really excited that Kyle's joining me on this too, because he's got a great perspective being an account manager here at ClickBank, being a director of marketing for an 8-figure brand, then coming back and to be biz dev here. So he has a really unique perspective from inside it out. And yeah, I'm really excited to share the data we've uncovered here too. So.
Yeah, super exciting. For those who don't know, I also came from an accounting background, so I love data. And there are some tidbits that we're going to share a little bit later, not only with some of the best individuals that we have, our top 20% in health and fitness, but just a data point that Thomas and I both saw where it just blew our minds and really changed the way we're going to start looking at things going forward. We hope you feel the same. To kind of highlight a little bit here, and I apologize, I'm still trying to place this not moving. Okay. To highlight kind of what we want to talk about here is to give you an idea. We ran data and pulled data in health and fitness for the top 100 offers. From that data set, we then took it and we evaluated supplements, health and fitness, removed high ticket, really cleaned out the data so we could have a good subset of what our best clients are doing, what they have been doing, and looking at certain things in terms of the funnel. So conversion rates, we looked at the initial average order value, and even affiliate payouts, and really found some amazing things we want to share with you today that we feel is a great benchmark to tell you how is my offer performing versus where, versus the best of the best out there. So that's what we want to share and talk about today.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight too, while the poll pops up, that if you're not aware of, ClickBank's business model, things like that, the funnels and orders, what we're looking at here is kind of a limited SKU direct response funnel, right? So it's going to be a limited option initial sales lander going through to an order form and then through a one-click upsell series, which can be anywhere from 1 to 5 upsell steps, right? Which are all one click. So, right, when we're kind of breaking down the different things we're going to go into, that's the perspective we're looking at with that initial lander and sales page. It's not like a giant e-com store, right? It's like a direct response sales page lander then going through.
Yeah. So full funnel, thanks for mentioning that, Thomas. Super helpful. And to make sure there's a wide range of how we can discuss these subjects. So we want to make sure that we service all of you that have taken your time to attend this webinar. So through the poll right now, we just want to know, where's your business right now? Are you making just a couple of bucks a month? Are you making 7 figures a month? If you could share on those survey results, we'd love to see what the stats are and what you guys say, just so we can have a good idea of what those results are. And hopefully they'll share them with me because I can't remember where we're supposed to see them. So hopefully that comes through well for you guys. Perfect. All right, so let's just jump right into it. So the first and most important thing, if you don't have this figured out, and you probably want to know a lot about it, you're probably not doing super well in your business. You don't know what conversions are, or you have none of them yet. That doesn't mean there's not going to be valuable information for you, but we're going to jump right in the front and the most important part of the data, which for us actually came out to be kind of self-fulfilling. Like it was something that when we think and get asked what's a good conversion rate, Thomas and I both landed on 2%, which is exactly where the data for our top offers vetted out. And so some of you might be like, 2%, what the hell is that? That's so low compared to what traffic you're seeing or what you might have. But remember, that's actually, if you look a little bit lower, that's at an average of 340 orders a day. So as you get more volume, you can't expect the conversion rate to hold if you have warmer, smaller targeted traffic. Sure, you're going to find the right buyers that are perfect for your product and your audience, but that comes essentially at a cost of scale, right? So these are scaled offers doing a lot of volume every single day, and those orders are new customers, not just purchases, but new customers every single day. And 2% the cold scale traffic is a fantastic conversion number. So we did break it out a little bit as well between supplements and digital, which again, with supplements, you see an even more drastic drop. And we're going to talk a little bit more about why that isn't a bad thing and why supplement offers in particular could be successful at that 1.37. But digital is coming in at 2.56. So do you have anything that you wanted to add to that, Thomas?
Yeah, I'd just say, right, like the surprise to me here was the lower conversion rate on supplements. I think a lot of the assumption in the space is that physical goods convert at a higher rate because the customer's actually getting something in their hands, right, instead of like a digital piece of material that they might not really be sure about and they might not be as confident in. So I was surprised to see that supplements are converting at a lower rate, but of course we'll dive into the rest of the data, which kind of explains why that isn't a bad thing necessarily. Yeah, so that was the biggest takeaway for me here, but I was just chapped to see that, yeah, we always throw out, oh yeah, you want to be converting around 2%, and that's spot on, backed up by the actual data. So I was a bit relieved there.
Yeah, and so for people to take action off of this and to think about it, right now, if your conversion rate isn't at 2% or kind of around these numbers, depending on if you have a digital offer or you have a physical supplement, if it's lower than that, that's where you need to start really focusing on and trying to get that number up. Or if it's higher than that, the next thing, what is that? I saw something pop.
I broke it. That was my bad.
Oh man. All right. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I think the poll ran, but I realized no one's voted for it, so it's already closed. So we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to go off assumptions here. Things can't go perfect all the time, right? We got to flow with it. But what going back to is if say your conversion rate is a lot higher than this, but you do not see that level of scale, the next thing to do is start testing out getting more affiliates, more traffic, to expand and broaden those horizons and see what happens to your conversion rate. Quick tidbit though, if you're looking to increase your conversion rate, always start on your headlines. That's the best place to go. Is just start testing some headlines and look at some of the top offers in the marketplace at ClickBank to get an idea what a good headline looks like. So moving on, maybe. Okay, sorry about that. So this is where honestly, everyone, you kind of strap in for a second because this is where we were the most surprised, and I really hope we can figure out how to make this next poll work, which is average initial purchase. So what we mean by this is the first product that your customer buys. This is what qualifies them as a buyer. What you do with your upsells afterwards, we're not going to talk about, but just that first purchase. So for the poll question, we really wanted you guys to ask yourself is what percentage of your AOV should come from that initial purchase? And let's see, looks like it's working. So with the different options. Yep. Oh, sorry. We have 40 to 50%, 51 to 60, 60 to 70%, and then 70% plus. And what we mean essentially by AOV is that full cart. So every single product they buy, post-purchase, upsells, things like that from initial purchase. Sorry, Thomas, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
Oh, no, you're good. I was just clarifying what we meant by AOV, which you did right there. So all good.
Perfect,
yeah,
perfect.
In the polls come in, there's 50% are thinking it's 40 to 50%, 22% thinks it's in the 51 to 60% range, and then trends down from there. So There you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So just
that matches up to what I thought too. So,
yeah. So, and this is just explaining again, so we'll kind of skip that slide. But yeah, that you guys were right where we thought it would be. It's kind of that 40 to 50, maybe 60% if we were thinking a little bit higher, which that's out when we looked at digital funnels. So initially we looked at digital, the average initial purchase price is 33.55, and then 60% of that comes from the initial, which fits general expectations. I think where we thought we were. Now, one thing that I want to kind of hand off to you though, Thomas, because you mentioned we see 33.55. There's a pretty standard price points that we tend to see in digital products and health and fitness for the successful ones. Why don't you talk a little about your findings when you kind of sorted through that data on this section?
Yeah, so this is backing out to that average of $33.55 for that average initial price point. And now that jives with what we'd kind of expect. When I dove into this a little more, I filtered down to kind of remove some of the lower ticket items, like things below $15, kind of the free plus shipping models that kind of can muddy the data a bit. And when I did that in the health and fitness space, that digital average came out to be right about $37, which some of the OGs that are on this will not be surprised by. $37 is a very common price point. You see a lot of people test 27, 37, 47. They like to end with 7 for some reason. It must convert better. And yeah, so that backs out to what we were expecting to see in the data. And then, right, 60% of that is making up that full cart value, right? So that $33 is 60% of the full cart.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I don't know what it is about the 7s. Maybe it's the best age, right? And that's first grade. Who doesn't love first grade? So I would tell you right now, for anybody that is looking and thinking, well, I don't have my first digital health and fitness product that's not at 37, it's not at 27, it's way higher or way lower. That's a good thing just to ask yourself, well, have you tested a different price point? Have you tried 37, 27? If you do anything today and you haven't done that, make sure you test out those price points. They've been tried and true for quite a long time now. So now this is where things got really surprising for us on this next section, which is when we looked at supplements, where we saw the average initial purchase price for supplements was a whopping $143 and represented, hold on, 78% of the entire AOV came from just that initial purchase, which is, holy cow, that's craziness. So why don't you tell a little bit about what your thoughts were when you saw that, Thomas?
Yeah, right. So like we saw in the poll response, I think we both assumed that 40% or 50% would be made up in the average order value from upsells, right? And so when you look at, for supplements at $143 or 78% is coming from the initial, it really highlights how valuable that initial cart is and how much you can get from a customer to pay for these supplement funnels. The other part too was that $143, which was much higher than I thought it was going to be. When I guesstimate and chatted with clients previous to this, I was always quoting things like in the $60 to $80 range for initial checkout price. But we're seeing with the bundling that people are doing, the BOGO offers that you'll get into a bit, Kyle, is like this is really upping that initial cart price and driving the lion's share of the average order value through the whole funnel. And that's where these supplements can really get some big scale.
Definitely. And that's where when we kind of talk about when you're looking at this, I think oftentimes I hear a lot of people that are selling supplements go, who would want to buy 6 bottles of supplements on their first purchase when they haven't even tried it yet? And now that might not be something that you do when you're going to your local grocery store or whatever GNC, which is going out of business. But I think that the problem is we see the dollars are totally different. And I always like to tell people to think about this conceptually. Think how many people pay on an annual basis to shop at Costco and buy things in bulk for this perceived great deal for things that they don't need. I just bought a way too many amount of like these frozen Mondu things, and I don't need any of that. It's a massive thing. I've never tried it before.
I'll take them.
But when we see that, you take that, right? When you see it, you think, oh, what a good deal. I want the best deal. So offering these bundle options at 136 at $200 plus on supplements, people take them. They take them at a surprisingly high rate. We see around 30 to 35% for the top offer producers out there in that top 100. That's the selection rate on a 6-bottle offer, which is averaging over $200. So you can see where this average to get so high and how powerful that could be. The other thing that's really critical too is what you do in your actual copy section in terms of the close. You're not just saying, hey, by the way, here's 6 bottles, which you should make all your images when you introduce the product, those 6 bottles, but there's an actual structured way of how you create the need for 6 bottles. You talk about the scarcity of the supplement. Think about it, these are really hot buyers right now. Giving them more is going to make a massive difference. So if you're curious on what that format looks like on the copy, we don't have time on this call to kind of go through the nuances for it, but I'd strongly recommend looking at that close through VSLs or long form sales pages, seeing how they're structuring it. And then like Thomas had mentioned, using either a BOGO, so it's buy 3, get 3 free, or buy 4, get 2 free, however you want to structure that, is incredibly successful in creating these large ticket bundles. Or one of my personal favorites is using some sort of bonus. So you get a premium. So you buy 5 bottles and get yourself a free, medicine thing or a free tote bag. I mean, NPR has been getting donations with tote bags for years, so don't knock it until you try it. But this is definitely a really powerful thing. We're going to talk about this even more and what this does for your business when we get to kind of the end here and we talk about the best of the best. But next, let's transition into from the initial purchase to the total cart. So we've got a great first purchase. Now let's stack our cart with all sorts of money and that. Before that though, Tom, do you want anything you wanted to add to the initial average purchase price that we just discussed?
I think it's the biggest lever when you're looking at what to optimize in your funnel, right? That's what we've kind of seen here. Obviously, conversions starting at top of the funnel are important. If you're going at where is meat on the bone to chew on, or where can I really make a difference, increasing that average cart value, not from the initial cart, is going to be your biggest lift across the whole funnel. We used to think it was like first upsell step is where you'd make up your biggest ground, right? Which maybe is still true for digital, but for physical supplements, it's going to be that initial cart is where you want to tweak and really optimize.
Mm-hmm. Which is great because one of the things I really liked about that from an optimization split testing level, some of the cheapest tests that you could do where you're going to get the most traffic is on your initial offer. So knowing that that's going to have, especially for supplement offers, carry such weight is hugely impactful. If you were currently selling a supplement and you're not getting $143 with your initial purchase on average, stop and get there. Start split testing, start optimizing, start looking at the top funnels out there and make sure you can hit that number. So now let's talk into kind of the total cart. So when we did an average for everything, we came out to 118. That includes the digital offers. When you look at that broken down, I think it's important to separate these when you're looking at supplements at 183 and then digital at 48.89 is what you're seeing. So one of the things that we really saw in here that I think is a good discussion point, good for us to talk, is where you see this disparity between the total cart values. Oftentimes people might sit there and go, why would you even make a digital health and fitness offer when you can get supplements and make so much more money? There's a fantastic reason, and Thomas has the answer. So why don't you share with us what you have, Thomas?
Oh gosh, I hope I do. Yeah, right. I'm sure some of the digital sellers we've seen on the call right now are looking at this going, right? I hope people don't think that physical is just the way to go and supplements are just the way to go. Because, right, if I didn't know any better looking at this, I'd go, oh, I won't waste my time with digital, I'll just move into supplements or physical goods because I can get a higher cart value. But as we both know, Kyle, there's a lot more headaches involved with supplement funnels, right, or physical goods, a lot more overhead, right? You have to source it, you've got to fulfill it, you've got to collect returns, you've got to manufacture it from the first place and create it. Now there's a lot of services out there that can help with all that, but it's still a bigger friction point than creating a digital product and putting it out there on the web to try to sell and get going from there. The other pieces too, right? If you're looking at what the top supplements are, a lot of them are in the weight loss space, kind of the green juice space, or kind of the feel better space. An affiliate who's looking to promote supplements can only promote so many of those at a time. We know that customers surprisingly will buy multiple types of those offers, even if they're direct competitors. But that doesn't mean that an affiliate can just hammer their traffic source with the same 3 supplement offers time and time again, right? These digital courses that are out there and digital products that are out there, we'll plug Emily Lark, right, her Back to Life product. She's on the call right now, right? These can really, excuse the pun here, supplement what these affiliates are doing. They're complementary products. They serve a different pain point than I want to lose weight faster or I want to do this better. They actually are a lower price point too, so you can target a different buyer, right? So it kind of helps flesh out your offering as an affiliate if you're promoting different types of products. So that means as a seller, or if you're looking to do like, what product should I make first? I just don't want you to come away with this going, oh, I should do supplements or I should do physical products because the carts are so much higher. There's a lot more money involved, you know, because a lot of this, there's a lot more loss and profit margin with physical. There's a lot more ways to kind of trip up with physical. So if you're new to it, digital can be a great way to go still. And there's still plenty of volume out there for traffic for you with a good offer.
Yeah, I'll state the dreaded word that every entrepreneur on this call most likely hates. Supplements mean more operations. Ooh. So, and that's really true. There's a lot more operational things you have to worry about in terms of cash flow, COGS, all sorts of stuff. Not to mention, from a legal mitigation or legal risk standpoint, supplements are one of the most sued products in the United States. So you're really putting yourself out there to a lot more regulatory compliance, a lot more potential risk. James Klein is on the call, could share all sorts of horror stories about formulating supplements and the risk and lawsuits that go along with them. And one other thing I think it's really great with digital, and just not to say that supplements are bad, right? They're not from this data, but from a digital standpoint, you have the ability to be so much more flexible and agile in terms of your marketing and your messaging. You could really mix things up, alter your product, change your product, drastically change your marketing so much easier than you can with a supplement at times. So especially if you're starting out, digital makes so much sense, and it's a really great way to get high margin revenue and faster acquisition, because as we saw before, it does convert higher than supplements do, which means more customers. That's really important. But so in terms of, just to kind of finish up the total cart thing, we didn't talk too much about the upsell flow. I just want to mention a couple of things that are important. If, say, right now you are not in either of these spots for your AOV for your offer, some good things to look at is to remember that your first upsell when you're selling supplements, and really for digital too, should always be a more. So if you're going to sell somebody on supplements, even if they bought 6 bottles, they probably want to buy 3 more or 6 more. So use that as your additional one, and also vary depending on what bottle amount they purchase. So if I bought just 1 bottle, probably don't upsell me on 6, maybe upsell me on 3 or 2, and change that dynamically. But that's huge, and that still is time and time again, and I've even tested it personally. You just can't beat it for your upsell, first upsell. It always works. I've never found anything that's overtaken it. For digital, it's still something more of the same is always really good. And then the next thing when you're looking at trying to optimize that upsell thing, just remember to accelerate. You want to accelerate results. So first, give me more, then accelerate, whether it's made for you, if you're doing something like, you know, I'm trying to think, if you're doing, here's a diet plan, give me a bunch of done for you recipes and meal planning. It's going to accelerate the results, or just make it easy for me, right? That's really what you want to structure when you're looking at your upsells, to make sure you're really refining that. And then just adding more options is always good. Once you get beyond your second upsell, those take rates are so low and it's expensive to test. Just having them there is really what you want. First, making sure they're hyper efficient sometimes. So anything to add to that, Thomas, before we go to the really exciting part? We're going to delve into the top of the top and some of the results that we saw there.
No, I think just if you're giving someone a shovel for it to go mine for gold, I'm stealing this from Perry Belcher a bit, right? The upsell should be either helping them do that better or faster in some way, right? So if you look at that second upsell step, maybe, you know, you give them more on a supplement funnel. What's the second upsell step? Is it a coaching program? Is it a higher ticket kind of thing where it's going to help them get results faster? Whatever it might be. So like, are you giving them a guide instead of, you know, more shovels? So just think about how you can add more value there. I'll just plug a ClickBank feature that can be really valuable for some sellers, right? Is the JV upsells. So you can actually, if you've got only one product and you're going, I don't have any upsells to put into it, you can actually go cut contracts with other ClickBank sellers to put their products into your one-click upsell flow. Or vice versa, if you've got a bunch of products and you want to diversify your customer acquisition streams, you can cut deals to put your products into other people's upsell flows. And it works with one click still, and you share the customer list going through there for those take rates, right? So that can be a great way to flesh out your flows and kind of test what works or doesn't work for your offer before you go build your own thing or something and get more of that margin back. But yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, so, and just one last thing I was thinking about it, I can't remember the exact offer, but I remember doing research on a offer. One thing that they did that really boosted their take rates, especially on the acceleration, is they use social proof. So they used a percentage. 70% of our most successful students took this product, or something like that. Putting that social proof along with accelerated results really created a combination that was incredibly successful for this digital health and fitness offer. I can't remember the specifics, but that's the part that's stuck in my brain. So let's move on, if I could click on the right spot, to another poll question. So before we kind of go in, we're going to rehash kind of the same sections. We're going to evaluate on in terms of the top 20% in the health and fitness field. But before we jump into that, I want to be able to go into another poll, and I'd love to hear from you guys in terms of, so far, what section has been the most powerful and most, from a data point perspective, wow, that was really valuable. That's something I'm going to take and measure against my business today. So we'll wait for the poll results. So for Thomas, I know we've kind of alluded this at the beginning, but what section was the part to you that you found to be like the most eye-popping and surprising?
Yeah, I think we covered it. The relation of initial cart value to average cart value from supplement funnel was really eye-opening to me. Just seeing how many dollars you can get from a customer on that initial price point. I love the poll results. It's pretty split pretty evenly across conversion rate, initial product purchase price, and total cart value. I'm willing to bet too, if you're newer to marketing, that the conversion rate's surprising, and if you've been around for a while, that initial product price was probably more surprising, right? And kind of a bigger takeaway. But yeah, so it's, I'm a creative writing major, not a data guy, so I'm new to data crunching, but I love it when you can peel back the kimono a bit and either confirm what you've been believing to be true just based on industry knowledge, and then also kind of get kicked in the teeth a bit and go, oh, okay, I was way off there. I need to reframe how I'm kind of coaching people and kind of how offers can be performing.
Well, for Christmas, Thomas, you and I will just spend some time in Excel, and we'll just, what we like to call frolic through the data and come up with all sorts of fun stuff.
I've got a thing going on.
Write about it. All right, so now let's talk about the best. This is the part that is definitely really, really exciting. I think most people in the industry are always wondering, like, what are the best people doing? What are they doing? Kyle, Thomas, tell us what they're doing. And today we're actually going to do it in terms of data. Normally I just tell people to shut up, but today I will tell you exactly what they're doing. So when we look at right now with conversions, this is one that was super, not surprising, but some of you might be surprised to see. Conversions with our top 20% offers are actually 64% lower, which you might go, well, how is that a good offer? But if you look at the number just a little bit below that, we see that orders, new customers on a daily basis, average out at 960 for 182% higher than what we see from the top 100. So when you really look at the top of those individuals, they're driving home a lot of new customers. So why don't you talk through that a little bit, Thomas, and share kind of the insights on those numbers when you saw them?
Yeah, right. I mean, I think the surprise to people here is going to be, what, top offers, the top 20% are converting less? That doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't on paper. But when you look at the landscape we talked about earlier, you have that when offers scale, they get exposed to much wider audiences. More affiliates jump on board, media buyers scale higher on Facebook and Google and native display ads, things like that. So there's a lot more eyeballs on an offer, which likely means, right, there's a lot more colder eyeballs or not as qualified eyeballs on an offer. So the conversion rate does go down. But, we kind of joke about this. Who isn't going to give up 64% in conversions for 182% in daily sales volume, right?
I'll take 1% conversion if I could get a 250% more actual customers. That sounds like can make that happen.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going back to that high cart value, right? And that high initial cart value is that is high enough to offset a lower conversion rate. Because it's kind of the two sides of the coin, conversions and earnings or commissions, whichever way you're looking at it from a vendor or an affiliate perspective. So if one's high enough and one's good enough, you're still going to outconvert a competing offer if it's not making as much money, even with a similar conversion rate, right? So these are able to earn enough money to offset lower conversion rates at scale.
Yeah, because essentially the amount that you could, when you have that really high average order value, that really high initial price point, the amount that you could spend to then go get a customer is so much more, it's so much larger. You have a lot more room to spend and scale, which is huge. And we're going to continue to hit that point home. But first, let's talk about that average initial price point. So we saw before, and this is, there's actually 60% higher at 171.46 what we had before versus the aggregated one that was 108. So that's a massive difference. And you can see again, 171.46 from those top offers, just with an initial conversion. Like, I don't even know what else to say about that, but you know, holy freaking crap. Like, that is so much just from one person buying, and so much power when you talk about media buying, what your CPA could be, or what you're paying out to affiliates, which we're going to allude to here in a second. I mean, that number was the most exciting to me. I got really excited about it.
Well, just look, I mean, look at the 60% higher number there, right? So the average of the top 20% compared to the rest of the field is 60% higher compared to the quote unquote competition, if you're looking at who's winning traffic from affiliates and things like that. So that is really telling how these people ask, how are these offers able to scale so high? There you go, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And then when we put it again, we see that total cart value. They're still at almost $210, and 81% of their total AOV actually comes from the initial product or the initial purchase. So this is one of these things that, to me, they're still getting a good amount from their back end, right? It's $210 for an overall AOV. So there's still efficiencies there. But I remember one thing that was really surprising to me when I looked through the top offers was how many of the offers didn't have a really deep upsell flow. They were only going some 2, 3 upsells, where from the digital world, top offers previously had, you know, 4 to 5, sometimes even more in terms of upsells that they're trying to go through to boost up that total cart. Because these vendors, these offers are so successful on the front end, they get so much right from that first purchase. They don't have to use and abuse their customers through a deep upsell flow, which I think is just really impressive in terms of how you could scale traffic. And then also, I wonder what that does to LTV. We don't have those numbers, but I think there's something really compelling about not having to send people through 6 upsell flows and what that could potentially do towards that consumer. Especially when I saw on my end as director of marketing, it was a common complaint that we had from customers that we had too many upsells. They would reach out to us and say, no, you had to go through too many. Boy, if I had not had this information, then I could tell you it would have changed the way that we optimize our funnels.
We'll also look at the product deliverability, right? If you're going through, you know, 3 or more upsell flows, the chances of the customer leaving the flow and not seeing your confirmation or thank you page or understanding how to get the product, if that's where you're telling them how to get it, is going to diminish pretty drastically, right? So if you can get the cart values you need with the initial on the first or 1 or 2 upsell flows, you don't need 3 or more, and you can actually improve that customer experience, get the product in their hands, or set their expectations a lot better and get them rolling out the door, and have your customer service care to take care of them and really reduce your refund rates too. So yeah, it kind of helps everything, right?
Yeah, which is super awesome, really fantastic. So the last thing, and I'm actually going to go to this chart because I think this will help summarize up. But one of the big areas that was just really powerful is we looked at the top 20%, the average affiliate payout. So how much they paid their affiliates was $113. Just to sit there, and if you're thinking about buying media, that's having like a CPA of $130 that they're able to pay out and still potentially break even. We don't know. We don't know what's going on in terms of their profitability, but that is a huge amount that's getting paid out to affiliates, giving them much larger margins, giving them the ability to send more traffic. Even if they're on mail, you have kind of a diminishing return every single time you send on the list. Even though there's lots of ways to get around it, we won't go too into that. But if I could get 113 on that first send or more on those payouts, I'm going to want to keep on sending. I'm going to want to throw that on a thank you page. There's so many different ways you're going to try and find a way to get that type of a payout. It's immensely powerful, and it's one of the reasons why those top offers are able to go out and just scale like crazy, especially when you look at it compared to the top 100, which is only at 55. And I say only, but that's a huge difference. Any thoughts here, Thomas, on kind of the summary page for the stats that we have here?
Well, I do want to clarify too that just because right, this is just about double the payout of the top 20 compared to the top 100. It doesn't mean a $55 payout is bad, right, or lower. It's all relative to your conversion rate, to your audience, to your list size, right? Just for some clarity too, when we look at the top 100 offers, that's making up, anywhere from multiple six-figure, a year sales to multiple eight-figure, from that lower tier to the higher tier of that top 100. So there's a pretty big discrepancy in that, right? So I think it's just important to understand that, just because, let's say you have a supplement funnel right now and your average payout to an affiliate is like 60 or 80 bucks or something like that, you can probably still get some decent traction. You're probably just not going to hit that, 500 plus sales a day or 600, or 900 sales a day volume yet, right? So, but it can still be good relative to where you started. So I think it's just keeping the context in mind, not like, what's the quote, like comparison is, I'm going to butcher it, right? But it's like comparing yourself to others is a great way to kind of really get discouraged. And that's not the intent of this. It's just to highlight all of these kind of how or why questions we get and go, this is how the data supports this scale that these top offers are able to do. And then here's the top 100, which might be a better barometer to hold yourself to if you're not up there yet, and go like, okay, if I really want to be successful and then platinum and kind of hit some traction, where do I need to be performing? And that's where this top 100 really might come into play for you.
Yeah, I think it's really good from a context perspective. Remember, this is top 100. Every single offer in there is still successful. They all have something to be proud of. And we just want to give you that comparison of what that difference is. And as you ascend, wherever you are in your journey to being a successful business owner, just know you have different goals and marks. And yeah, don't get beat up because you're not there. Just know and be excited about the opportunity that you have to go and hit those targets. Because as a short person that's not as handsome as Thomas, I could get really beat down on trying to stand on stilts to make myself his height. But ultimately, it's just a target one day to take out his shins and bring him down to my level. That's really what the goal is. But no. So in general, though, like this is some really valuable information. Take a picture of this, and when you're getting ready, prepare for Q1, which is the quarter for health and fitness. These are some really nice targets for you to keep in mind, to know that I either need to be hitting them, maintain them, or exceed them. And that's going to be a really good health or sign and indicator that you have a healthy offer that's going to do really well. So let's go to, last thing, I almost forgot about this, sorry. So this was a sliver. We took this out of a sliver of a huge data pool that ClickBank had kind of sorted through, and they actually, our marketing team aggregated all this data into this amazing report that's going to go and cover not just health and fitness. It's going to do biz ops, survival, IN, all the things, dating, spirituality, all of our top offers, create a ton of transactions or tons of data and share that with you. It's called the rundown report, and it is totally free, great data for you to get prepared for your next quarter, to be a great one in 2021, since I think we're all ready for 2020 to move on. And this is going to give you some really powerful data, and look for these coming every single quarter with new data insights, so you could always be up to date what's going on in the market. Anything to add to that, Thomas?
No, I'm just super excited. Like, ClickBank obviously has a lot of, will you just leave that page up for a bit, Kyle, just so people can see the,
yes, sir.
I did put the link in the chat if you want to go check it out there. I'm really excited to see ClickBank leaning into all the data it has, right? Because it's a lot. It's a little overwhelming. It's not so much how do you get the data, it's how do you segment the data and actually find the good stuff in there. I'm really excited to see that we're leaning into it and able to offer it in a way to better your businesses, right? Because it's not just self-serving for us. If you can be more successful on ClickBank, we're inherently more successful, right? So it really helps us help you help us. So, but there's some good nuggets in there, right? It kind of goes a little deeper into what we've been talking about today. And then, you'll get you on the list for the extended rundown reports will be coming every quarter, which, we're going to see how this evolves, and we're pretty excited to see how it grows and kind of improves. So,
yeah. Agreed. All right, so let's go to the questions section. Jamie, were you able to get some? To see a lot in here.
Yeah, just joining you here. So, Thomas has actually been pretty fantastic and has been answering most of the questions all throughout the webinar. But there's just one or two coming through now. If anyone else in the audience, if you do have any questions, now is kind of your last opportunity to make the most of Thomas and Kyle's time. So please do kind of post anything that you would like to ask in the chat. But there's one here just come through, and it's kind of Is there data on average cost per lead with health product funnels?
Sorry, can you say that
Average
again?
cost per lead. I think it was average cost per lead for health funnels. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the one, Kyle.
Yeah. So I'd say, it's hard to say because your cost. So cost per lead in general, I've heard tends to be $2 is a good measurement that I kind of use for an industry standard. But I would tell you this before you go out and try and look what a good cost per lead is. Figure out what your EPL is. So how much are you going to earn per lead? I see a lot of people go out and buy leads and they don't know what to do with them. So it's just a pile of wasted money that you're not going to monetize. A great way to test this is just run with some, if you have affiliate partners, try and run some CPL offers with them, measure, see how that batch of leads does, and do some testing on a small scale before you go out and actually do a CPL offer. Or spend a lot of money on a CPL offer. We actually ran it on our own list first to get an idea of what they would do and kind of measure that. And then in general, we were successful when I was a director of marketing was about $2 for a CPL for us to actually still ROI positive. But that's different for offers and people out there.
Yeah, just for context, right? ClickBank's a revenue sharing platform, right? So we're looking at point of sale and what's really happening there. We don't have a lot of great insight just from a data perspective onto how much people might have paid for a lead campaign instead of a sale campaign, right? So that's why we can't get too specific with that data. But
yeah.
Perfect. And then there's one more here as well. I think it'd be quite interesting. Could you give an example of a funnel for a diet pill? How many pre-sale pages should they run? 1, 2, or 3?
Is this from an affiliate?
It sounds like it's from an affiliate, yeah.
It's hard to say. I'd say as many or as few as you need based on the conversion rates, which is a bad specific answer, but it's the best I can give you, right? Typically we see pre-sale pages needed from traffic sources like Facebook or something like that, where you might need to kind of gate the offer if you need to warm up the pages. In my opinion, fewer is better. You want to get someone to a proven sales page faster. So you want to warm them up as quick as you can with as fewest steps as you can, right? So if you can do that on a basic quiz lander or a simple kind of blog post lander and really warm them up and direct them to the sales page, in my opinion, that's going to often beat a 2 or 3 step kind of a pre-sale sequence, but I would certainly test, right?
Yeah, because when I hear someone doing 2 to 3 pre-sale pages, it makes me think that there's potentially a conversion issue on the actual offer. So you're doing a lot of the legwork to make up for what is probably not a great converting offer. So the only other way that could make sense is if you're doing something with e-com with less direct response. So there's not a lot of selling on the page, which in that point, 3 pre-sale pages would probably be good. You normally have to get at least, from what I've heard, about 3 to 3.5 touch points normally before people buy, which obviously I think that can be overcome with good direct response sales page. But yeah, I think you probably have a different problem if you're doing 3 pre-sale pages. All right. Any other questions?
I think there's quite a few, a bit more complicated ones, but I think we'll just pick up this one as maybe one final one. And again, I'm not sure if how well you might be able to answer it, but kind of for driving traffic, are any affiliates successful with using YouTube ads?
Yeah.
Yes.
Short answer. Yeah, we've seen a lot of affiliates and just a lot of traffic in general moving to YouTube for some various reasons. I think that YouTube is less strict than say Facebook, especially with all the ad account shutdowns we've seen Facebook doing to kind of business ad accounts and stuff like that. Now, right, in theory, if a bunch of bad apples move to YouTube and spin up bad traffic, they might have to quash things too. But short answer is yes, YouTube is a great traffic source. My take on traffic sources in general is they're all good. It's just how you can leverage them and align a good audience with a good offer on them and kind of connect the dots with good creatives. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a good question here about the tackle, Kyle. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Roddy was asking what's the average cost for the first upsell step, and that might be hard for us to do into an average because it can vary so much. But I know there's some good rules of thumb for laying out first upsell step and kind of second upsell step price point. So maybe on a percentage basis, if you can speak to that a bit, maybe.
Yeah, well, I would say firstly, it's going to be vastly different between supplements and digital. But the standard route that I've kind of gone is you always want to ascend in terms of your price point. So if you have a $37 price point, your first upsell ideally should be a little bit higher than that. So I think if you're going 47 to over 50 for that first upsell, that's a pretty healthy place to be. From experience, I've always tried to go 47 for a $37 product, and then actually keeping that rule of sevens at a 37, kind of a $10 increase on the first upsell. There's a lot of different ways to do that depending on what the initial offer is. But what I would tell you is the further you go down the funnel, what I've seen is a good starting point is just to, if someone's going to buy more, keep making the offer increase in terms of price point. That always tends to work the best. And then if you're downselling, obviously you'll decrease that price as well as increase bonuses and change things there. Honestly, just this is kind of weird, but if you're really looking to maximize your upsell funnel, Jordan Hall spoke at a Copy Accelerator and created this amazing process where his whole method, he actually starts pretty high. So he started at $100 for his first upsell, which I think it was a $37 or dollar digital product. I can't fully remember. But so a pretty large increase. But what he did is he downsells it 3 times by not changing the price, but increasing bonuses on the first downsell, then decreasing price, increasing bonuses, decreasing it one more. So it gets pretty close to what the initial, about $10, what the initial purchase price was with more bonuses. And it was, I think he said he got like it was over 50% that someone takes one of the upsells in the funnel. So anyway, that didn't fully answer your question, Thomas, but that's a general methodology.
Yeah, it's a hard one to answer specifically, but yeah, that's a good crack.
Yeah. There's also one here from another Kyle, so that's obviously why I picked it. But I'm thinking about launching a physical supplement. What's better to start with, a custom formulation or going white label? So any thoughts there, Thomas? I definitely have some, but if you don't, give you a chance to ask.
Yeah, I can answer that pretty succinctly, I think, because we deal with that a lot. If you're new to physical supplements and you're wanting to create one, I would recommend starting with white label. And if you're not sure what that means, a white label essentially is a manufactured product that a manufacturer has that they have a lot of stock of, and they can put your custom label and branding on it, right? So there might be, and it's very common to do. Then, so what I recommend doing is start there if you're new to it and figure out what type of product works and kind of what you want to be able to sell at scale. And then you can move into a custom formulation if you need to kind of maybe boost margins for yourself or to produce the efficacy of the product or the results of the product that you're kind of creating. But I would, if you're new to it, certainly start with white label and then go into custom later.
Yeah, it's a lot of additional cost and time.
Yeah, less friction.
If it's going to convert yet, so. Perfect. Any other questions that you saw in there, Jamie? There's one from Errol that kind of seems interesting.
From who, sorry?
Errol?
Oh, that's not popping up for me. I've just seen one from David about kind of, as a vendor, can you offer a fundraising opportunity on ClickBank?
I don't know.
It's not too common. It's I've seen it as an appended item to other types of sales, if that makes sense, right? Like add X dollars for a fundraising opportunity. I haven't seen many just straight fundraising opportunities. Part of that might just be because we're really geared towards direct to consumer sales, right? And kind of conversions there, that the fundraising piece, there's probably better places like some of those crowdfunding campaigns and things like that to do. So without knowing more specifics, David, it's a soft answer for you, kind of sort of, but it's definitely not like the main wheelhouse that we see affiliates and kind of sellers scaling.
So it's yeah, what is the best way for a physical health product supplement manufacturer to get the attention of potential affiliates?
Put it on ClickBank.
Yeah, I was going to say, my headphones just unclicked.
No, I was just, I'll jump in, Kyle. There's a lot of ways, right? I think the main best thing you can do is create a good offer, which means, a good converting offer like we've been covering here at 2%, high payouts to affiliates and things like that. You need to be on par or better for performance, right, to keep sustained affiliate traffic. the next piece of your question, or the main piece, right, is how do you get the attention of potential affiliates? That's where a plug for ClickBank makes a lot of sense, right? If you put it on any network, in theory, you're exposing that product to affiliates looking for offers to promote. Now we know that though, if you build it, they will come metaphor really only applies to baseball movies. So I wouldn't put a whole lot of emphasis on that. You really need to do some good business development, affiliate recruitment work yourself. But those are things like having a good affiliate recruitment page and highlighting why it's a good offer and disqualifying and qualifying the types of affiliates that offer is good for is a good place to start. Engaging in kind of good Facebook groups like the Direct Response Marketing Partners Facebook group or things like that are good places to meet potential new affiliates. If you can be an affiliate yourself at all for complimentary offers to your product, that can be a great way to warm up the water and kind of get in the door with someone, because a lot of these, right, a lot of the top sellers that we're talking about here are big affiliates themselves. They're making not all, but most of their profit on monetizing the customer after the initial sale. So if you can be an affiliate for them, they likely have a big buyer list that they could potentially promote your offer to if it is a good offer and kind of makes sense for their traffic. So that can be a great way to kind of warm up the waters there. Anything to add, Kyle?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the other route too, which is important to mention. Well, I was going to say Traffic Tribe's another great source to go get some of those affiliate relationships. But making sure you have some traffic source that you could put money into to test, that you could test cold. One of the biggest barriers that we see from that affiliate recruitment side or making sure that offer works is it never gets tested to a really cold traffic source. And so in spite of all those recruiting efforts with affiliates, your offer just doesn't work because you haven't a chance to test a cold audience. So I would say that we can't spend too much time talking about how to do that, but it's another shameless plug for content. Thomas and I have been started recording a podcast for ClickBank called Affiliated. We haven't released it yet, but it's going to cover some of these subjects in terms of affiliate marketing and specifically using affiliates to scale your business in a lot of different ways. So just tune in for that. You might find some good tidbits as we go.
Perfect. Should we end on one final question then, Thomas and Kyle? Just want to start here. So final question, should I use a funnel builder or should I just sell via landing pages?
So I think that a funnel builder is a great starting point, just because it's going to take a lot of the headaches away unless you know how to design your own pages. So whether it's using ClickFunnels or group pages or whatever, all the different ones out there, that's going to give you a nice baseline to start and get an offer tested. But when you move into scale, I don't know about you, Thomas, I don't know of a web builder that handles scale quite as good as just having your own custom pages and having a designer building your own HTML pages. But that definitely shouldn't or doesn't have to be your starting point.
No, I agree. Start with a page builder to reduce friction and then move it to a hard-coded page when you hit profitability and scale, because you'll improve page load speed is the biggest thing when you just have raw HTML files on a lander.
Yep. Yeah, and just to give you an idea, ClickFunnels is used by a majority of our top clients, and they use it for testing purposes because it's so quick and easy to just build a page, test it in ClickFunnels, and then go send a designer if the test wins.
Great. Well, I think we'll end it there. Otherwise, I think these questions might continue coming through for the next couple of hours. I'm sure people will have to reach out to you on social or elsewhere. But I just want to say kind of a big thank you to kind of yourself, Thomas and Kyle, for what I found kind of a really data-driven and insightful presentation. So it was a real pleasure having you both here today. So yeah, big thank you to you guys, and also a big thank you to everyone who asked the question and took part in the polls. Hope to see everyone again kind of at the next Affiliate Summit webinar. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. Don't forget to get the rundown report, and cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.